Good day, family. This is video number 12 in our series on discipline. Today I want to talk with you about an important distinction in the Christian life. The difference between being trained and simply being tried. Many people approach the Christian life as something to be tried rather than trained. When things get difficult, we try harder. We try to be more patient. We try to be more faithful. We try to do better next time. But Scripture does not describe spiritual growth as something we simply try our way through. No, it describes spiritual growth as something we are trained into. So here is a core truth. Trying relies on willpower. Training relies on formation, being formed. Trying is reactive. Training is intentional. And God does not call his people to occasional effort. He calls them to ongoing formation. The Christian life is not sustained by bursts of resolve. It is sustained by steady training of the soul. I want to return to a passage that I know you've heard me reference time and time again. But again, I think it says so much. 1 Timothy 4 and verse 7, Paul will say it this way, train yourselves for godliness. Here's that command again. Paul does not say try to be godly when you feel ready. He says train yourself. Training assumes repetition. Training assumes discipline. Training assumes patience. Training assumes progress over time. Godliness is formed, not improvised. There comes a point when trying eventually fails. Trying usually shows up when pressure is high. We try harder after failure. We try harder when guilt sets in. We try harder when consequences appear. But willpower alone is unreliable. Trying depends on emotion and urgency. Training depends on rhythm and commitment. And without training, effort fades quickly. That's why the writer of Hebrews will say it this way. Hebrews 12 and verse number 11. For the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. Did you hear that? Notice that phrase, trained by it. Fruit does not come from trying every now and then. Fruit comes from submitting to a process over time. Training shapes response, not just intention. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, when the temptation comes, we do not rise to our intentions. We fall back on our training. When stress hits, training determines our reaction. When trials come, training reveals what has been formed within us. And this is why God focuses on formation long before crisis ever arises. Paul echoes this in Philippians 4 and verse 9, where he says, what you have learned and received of me and heard and seen in me, practice these things, and the God of peace will be with you. That word practice is training. It's training language. Faith is not only believed, it is practiced. And what we practice consistently becomes part of who we are. Here's a word of application. Instead of asking, how can I try harder? Ask, what am I training for? What habits am I forming? What rhythms am I practicing? What disciplines are shaping my responses? Now, those are significant questions. Training does not require perfection. It requires faithfulness. God is not asking you nor me to live the Christian life on sheer effort, on our own effort. He's not asking you to rely on willpower alone. He's inviting you into a life of formation. And that is what Christianity is. It is a life of formation. The Christian life is not tried in moments of pressure. It is trained over time through faithful discipline. And this is what it means to be formed to fight. Thank you so much for spending time with me.